precisely 1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Romesh Peris and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. The President appoints an interministerial committee to ensure essential commodities before the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. The Foreign Minister to lead the Sri Lanka delegation to the 49th session of the UN Human Rights Council. The PUCSL has approved power cuts for today to take place after 4:30 p.m. Sri Lanka identifies 1,231 new COVID-19 cases on Sunday, raising the overall total tally. The central bank governor says that a steady inflow of forex is expected in the near future. The CPC says that the country's daily fuel requirement has increased significantly. In international stories, the US and Russian presidents agree in principle to a summit amid Ukraine tensions. Sports, Winter Olympics closing ceremony marks end of 2022 Beijing Games. We move on to local news in detail now. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has appointed an interministerial committee headed by the finance minister to oversee the arrangements of providing essential commodities at affordable prices for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. Cooperatives, Market and Development and Consumer Protection State Minister Lasantha Alagiyawanna said the government was planning to increase the supply of goods and bring prices down. The government announced Foreign Minister Professor J.L. Peris will lead the Sri Lankan delegation to the 49th session of the UN Human Rights Council. The 49th session of the UN Human Rights Council will take place from the 28th of February to the 1st of April 2022 in Geneva. During the session, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights will present a written update on Sri Lanka to the Council, and there will be an interactive dialogue on Sri Lanka on the 3rd of March 2022. During the visit, the Foreign Minister will address the high-level segment of the 49th session of the Council and thereafter speak at the interactive dialogue on Sri Lanka. The Foreign Minister is also scheduled to have meetings with the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights and other dignitaries during his visit. According to Epidemiology Unit of the Health Ministry, 1,231 new COVID-19 infections were reported so far on Sunday. A total of 636,837 COVID-19 cases have been reported since the beginning of the pandemic, while 23,735 infected patients are currently under medical care at hospitals and homes. 597,118 patients have fully recovered and been discharged from hospitals. Sri Lanka on Sunday reported 25 deaths, raising the total to 15,994. Separately, 27,977 vaccine doses have been administered against COVID-19 in Sri Lanka yesterday. So far, a total of 16,847,116 people have received a first dose of COVID-19 vaccine and 14,079,398 have received the second dose. In addition, 6,462,786 have received the third booster dose. The central bank governor Ajit Nivard Cabral said that as a steady inflow of forex is expected in the near future, pressures on the economy will witness some level of easing and Sri Lanka will avoid a debt default by all means. Speaking to Bloomberg in an interview recently, Governor Cabral pointed out that Sri Lanka's overall reserves are being buttressed by several swaps, particularly from China, India and Bangladesh. He stressed while several discussions are being held to secure more funds, the central bank is hopeful of getting inflows that are non-debt creating. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says that the country's daily fuel requirement has increased significantly. CPC Chairman Sumit Vijayasinghe said that the demand for diesel, which was 5,500 metric tons per week, has now increased to 8,000 metric tons. He also said that the demand for petrol has increased from 3,000 metric tons to 4,500 metric tons. Pointing out that this is a serious situation, the chairman said that necessary steps should be taken immediately to control the situation. Meanwhile, 5 oil tankers are scheduled to arrive in the island this week. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news. Continuing with more stories here at home. The Colombo Municipal Council members say some 80 members of the Colombo Municipal Council had spent 3.4 million rupees on a tour to the north. JVP member of CMC Hemanta Kumar said the original estimate for the tour was 5.5 million rupees, but it was adjusted to 3.4 million rupees as some of the council members refused to participate in it. He also claimed that it will be a sharing of experience with the Municipal Council to Jaffna and other local bodies. However, the CMC had received an invitation on February 2, 2022 from the chairman Walikamam, Southwest Pradesh Sabha, A. Jebanesan, inviting the members of the CMC for an experience sharing session. The itinerary of the tour included visits to some local bodies in the province. The Colombo Archdiocese Social Communication Director, Reverend Father Jude Krishanta Fernando, says he hopes the victims of the 2019 Easter attacks will receive fair justice to their plight soon. The Social Communication Director of the Colombo Archdiocese pointed out so far there is a delay in bringing perpetrators to account. Therefore, Reverend Jude Krishanta said, since the judiciary is independent, the country awaits justice to be served expeditiously to bring a conclusion. Reverend Krishanta made this comment participating at the Dasa Dasan program conducted by the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation this morning. The State Minister of Batik, Handloom and Local Apparel Products, Dasari Jayasekara, visited Vavuniya and Jaffna district on Sunday. During his visit, he oversaw the activities of the weaving training centres located at Veppankulam and Ambalangodalla in the Vavuniya district. The State Minister also visited the handloom weaving manufacturing and sales outlets located at Vairava Puliyankulam. He handed over raw materials to 5 individuals who excelled in weaving production and handloom equipment for 2 training centres. The State Minister during his visit opened a sales outlet on Saubhagya Handlooms in Jaffna. A code of ethics has been proposed for social media in Sri Lanka in order to safeguard the image of the country. State Minister Shehan Semasinghe said the social media is being used to mislead the public and discredit the country. The State Minister raised strong objections to such attempts and noted the need for a code of ethics to curtail such moves. That's local news for the moment.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has approved power cuts for today as requested by the CEB due to inadequate generation of electricity. According to the chairman of the PUCSL, Janaka Ratnayaka, a 2-hour power interruption will take place after 4:30 p.m. Earlier, a power cut between 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. had been agreed. However, the decision was changed due to a request by the Ministry of Education to accommodate GCE advanced level examination currently being conducted.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
This is Watchlight.
The number of dengue patients reported so far this year alone has risen to 9,809. Community medicine specialist Anuja Veerasinghe at the National Dengue Control Unit said that between 40 and 45% of waste materials contribute to the spread of dengue. She said construction sites, schools and business establishments are considered as high-risk zones for the spread of dengue. That's on Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines. The US President Biden and Russian President Putin agreed in principle to summit amid Ukraine tensions. Australia's border reopens to international visitors. Ethiopia starts electricity production at Blue Nile Mega Dam. World news in detail. US President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed in principle to a summit over the Ukraine crisis, the office of French President Emmanuel Macron said, so long as Moscow does not invade Ukraine. And in a statement released early on Monday, the Elysee Palace said Macron had pitched both leaders on a summit over security and strategic stability in Europe. Presidents Biden and Putin have both accepted the principle of such a summit, the statement said, stressing that such a meeting would be impossible if Russia invaded Ukraine, as Western nations fear is its intention. Australia has reopened its international border for the first time in nearly 2 years, bringing joyful family reunions and a boost to tourism. The country imposed some of the world's strictest travel bans after shutting itself off in March 2020 due to COVID. Australians and some others were allowed to return from late last year, but most foreigners have had to wait. There were tearful reunions at Sydney Airport on Monday as hundreds of people began arriving on flights. Finally, on world news, Ethiopia began producing electricity for the first time from its Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, a massive hydropower plant on the River Nile that neighbors Sudan and Egypt say will cause severe water shortages downstream. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed officially inaugurated electricity production on Sunday from the Mega Dam, a milestone in the controversial multi-billion-dollar project. And that's world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take coal out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Officials from the Indian High Commission in Colombo, accompanied by representatives from Rail India Technical and Economic Service and the Sri Lanka Railways, travelled abroad on air-conditioned train AC diesel multiple unit on its successful trial run in Sri Lanka. This AC DMU has been supplied under a $318 million line of credit from India. The first AC DMU supplied under this LOC was put into operation on 9th January 2022. The line of credit was finalized in 2014-2015 for the supply of railway rolling stock to Sri Lanka, upgrading of railway tracks and other mutually agreed projects in accordance with requests and requirements of Government of Sri Lanka. That's on Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Sports on Winter Olympics. The Beijing Winter Olympics came to a close on Sunday in a touching ceremony. Almost 3,000 athletes competed in 109 events across 15 disciplines during the past 2 weeks. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach called for political leaders around the world to be inspired by the athletes' example of solidarity and peace.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Pan-Asian Power PLC, a leading supplier of renewable energy to Sri Lanka's national grid, recently commissioned 2 ground solar power projects, 1 megawatt ground solar power plants in Mahava and Pannala, both in the northwestern province of the country. The project is worth a total investment of 300 million rupees. The Maha and Pannala plants mark the 5th and 6th such ground solar power plants commissioned by Pan-Asian Power PLC. The 2 solar plants will generate 250,000 kilowatt hours of green electricity per year, saving the equivalent of 3,580 metric tons of carbon dioxide, which would otherwise be emitted using non-renewable energy sources. That's on Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB You Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, the Colombo Stock Exchange has enabled local entities incorporated or established in Sri Lanka to issue the list foreign currency denominated shares in the main market segment of the CSE. This new financing option for local companies is a result of the new strategic plan the CSE launched in 2020. Having obtained necessary clearances from the Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka, the listing rules and the trading rules of the CSE and the CDS rules of the Central Depository Systems Private Limited have been suitably amended to facilitate the listing, trading and clearing and settlement of foreign currency denominated shares to be issued by local entities. The aforementioned regulatory framework has been effective since 14th February 2022.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The weather report.
The Department of Meteorology says a few showers will occur in the eastern province today. Showers or thunder showers may occur at several places in central Uva provinces and in Hambantota district during the evening or night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere, it's said. And that's the weather update. Heading back to the headlines before we wind up this bulletin of news. The President appoints an interministerial committee to ensure essential commodities before the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. The Foreign Minister to lead the Sri Lanka delegation to the 49th session of the UN Human Rights Council. The PUCSL has approved power cuts for today to take place after 4:30 p.m. Sri Lanka identifies 1,231 new COVID-19 cases on Sunday, raising the overall total tally. The central bank governor says that a steady inflow of forex is expected in the near future. The CPC says that the country's daily fuel requirement has increased significantly. International stories: the US and Russian presidents agree in principle to a summit amid Ukraine tensions. Sports: Winter Olympics. Closing ceremony marks end of 2022 Beijing Games. And with that, it's time for me to say bye-bye, and we conclude this main news broadcast.